Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another video. So in this video I'm going to show you how I do maintenance on my 1,000 gallon saltwater aquarium. So you may think this is a ton of work, it takes hours, you have to carry buckets of water. But you may be surprised, especially now that I've redesigned the filtration system. So this was a two-part video that I posted, so you're welcome to check that out. But after I've done that modification or these modifications to this tank and the filtration setup, I think it's going to be a lot easier. So this is actually my very first full water change that I'm going to walk you through, and you will be surprised how easy it is. Alright, so I'm going to go through my maintenance routine for this 1,000 gallon saltwater aquarium. And my maintenance routine has changed a lot since I updated the filtration system. And basically it's going to make it a lot easier for me to clean this aquarium. And sometimes I may not even need to put my hands inside the tank at all, depending how bad the algae is. But let me show you what this maintenance day for me today is going to consist of. So basically we have this bead filter here. So the bead filter will have to be cleaned, and that is going to be done really easily by just turning the handles. And basically the beads are going to be cleaned, and then I'm going to turn the handle to the discharge position to discharge all the wastewater, and that should be pretty much it for the bead filter. And then for the inside of the tank, so obviously I have some, I'm not sure if you can see that, but I do have some algae growing on the front panel. So this is something that we'll have to clean manually. And if I didn't have this problem, I probably wouldn't even need to put my hands in this tank at all, because everything else is going to be, completely hands off. So after I clean the bead filter, the next thing I would do is I would turn on my closed loop system to push water throughout the rockwork, deep in the rock, to stir up all the dirt that has accumulated. So that was the purpose of me installing this closed loop system. And then when all the dirt is stirred up, what I'm going to be doing then is I'm going to be opening up these ball valves. Obviously have a hose hooked up, and then just drain the water, about 25%. And then when it comes to returning the water back into the aquarium, I'm going to be using a really powerful pool pump, and that is going to pump the water in no time, and then I should be pretty much finished. So I may be doing some little bit of cleanup, removing some empty shells, some empty clam shells, because the fish absolutely love to eat clams on a half shell. And yeah, I don't see anything else that I need to do here, honestly. I may stick a power head somewhere here, depending on how much dirt has accumulated. But I think the closed loop system is going to do the work for me. By the way, this is not a dead lobster. This is one of my blue spiny lobsters that have molted. And this gives you an idea how large this is compared to my hand. And he's now even bigger. So yeah, these are quite impressive. So I only can recommend one if you have a big tank. But yeah, I'm going to start working on this, and then it should not take long at all. So the very first thing I'm going to be doing here is actually getting rid of the algae on the front panel, because when you scrub off the algae, the algae gets released into the water, and then you can drain it out. So I don't want it to be floating around and going to other places and grow there. So what I do to remove the algae, I'm using these shower scrubs basically. So I make sure the top is clean, it's not too harsh for acrylic. So I do not use magnetic algae scrapers anymore, because they are the ones that put the scratches into your acrylic or your glass. So I did not film this when I did the redesign of the filtration system, but basically when everything was taken out of the tank, I had a company come over to polish the whole tank, get rid of all the scratches inside and outside. It cost me $1,200 to get this done, but it was worth it because it was a once in a big. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity to get this done because I don't think I will ever take everything out of this tank again like I did, for the redesign of the filtration system. So now that the tank is completely scratch free, I definitely do not want to add any new scratches in there again with a magnetic algae scraper. So it's all done by hand. The good thing about these shower scarps, they extend, so you can reach everywhere, even if you have a 4-foot tank like I have. The only downside is these are not really very robust long term because this is a saltwater aquarium, so you will have some rust that you have to clean off and eventually it will fall apart and then you have to get a new one, but they are pretty cheap and it's really worth it. But yeah, like I said earlier, if I didn't have the algae on the front panel, I wouldn't even need to do this step at all. So that's the only really manually intensive labor that I have to do, but it may take me only a couple of minutes and then I'm pretty much done with that step. Okay, so it's now time to clean the bead filter. So the first thing I've done is shut off the pump, and that means a lot of water is flowing into the sump system. So for those of you who didn't watch the filtration upgrade videos, this is a 55-gallon aquarium and I have 2 more and they are daisy chained together. The water flows in here, is filtered mechanically, and then we have a carbon reactor and a protein skimmer, and from here the water flows into the next 2 aquariums, which are full with biological media, mostly CK matrix and biorings, and from there the water is then pumped to the bead filter and from here back into the aquarium. So when you shut off the pump, you have a lot more water now, which is great because in order to clean this filter, you have to use the backwash function, and then for about 30 minutes or so, and then after that, 30 seconds, and then after that you switch it to the rinse mode, so that will rinse the media, and then you do another backwash, another rinse, another backwash, and another rinse. And when I'm done with that, I'm pretty much almost not empty, but I'll probably have not enough water anyway in my sump system to keep going, so I'm trying to get it done in 3 backwash and rinses. And then another thing with these filters is they have a pressure gauge, and this is great to find out when you need to clean the filter. So when it's fully up and running, it's at 6 bars or 6 psi, and then if I see it dropping, that is an indication that the filter is clogged. But since this filter has only been running for a month, there should be very little dirt in here. And when you do the backwash procedure, you have this clear glass, so you can see how clean the water is that comes out of this filter. So if it's brown, obviously you have to keep going. But yeah, so I actually had to wait a month, before I cleaned this filter. So this is actually the first time I'm cleaning it. And yeah, because the biological the bacteria for the biological filtration has to establish itself, so you don't want to disturb it in the first month. But then from here, I have a blue discharge hose connected. It goes all the way out to the outside, and that's basically how I get rid of that water. So yeah, let me get started and then I will pick it up when I'm done. One thing I want to mention really quickly with these bead filters is that when you push down and rotate the handle, you should only rotate them in the clockwise motion or direction, and because you have a gasket in there that can break really easily if you go the other way. So if you need to go to the rinse or the backwash and you overshoot, don't go backwards, keep going and until you get there. So that's just a quick tip. Okay, so now that the bead filter is clean, the next thing I'm going to be doing is cleaning the inside of the tank. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is to turn on the closed loop system to stir up all the dirt. I'm going to do that right now. Alright, as you can see, all the dirt is being stirred up quite nicely. And it's flowing into the filtration system as well, so the sump system in the back, so a lot of the dirt will be picked up by the mechanical filtration. But yeah, so now I'm going to be waiting a couple of minutes until all the dirt is up in the water column, and then I'm going to be opening the valves down there to basically suck out, drain the water out, and that should be it for taking the water out of this tank. Here we can see really nicely how the water is, getting pushed out deep into the rock and then out to the side. So it's perfect to get all the gunk out of the, rock work. I would never be able to get to it any other way. All right, I'm about to turn off the closed loop system, but just to give you a final look, how beautiful this works. So yeah, you cannot see anything anymore. It's just pure Sprite water. So it's time to turn it off, so not spook the fish for much longer, and then start to open the drain, like I said earlier, and then we'll have a really, really high quality water change. All right, I just opened the valves at the bottom, and now the water is flowing out. No pumping of water, just pure gravity and out into the back. All right, now I just wanted to show you how I prepare my water. So I used to do RO water, but with these fish only with live rock systems, you can actually use tap water without a problem. For the salt, I use these Inside Ocean Reef crystals, so it's one of the cheapest salts. So for pumping this back onto the aquarium, so we have 275 gallons of water here, and I'm using these pool pumps. These are really, really strong, from AquaStrong, 2 horsepower. So use a discharge hose again and pump this back into the aquarium, and that should take no time at all. All right, I'm going to turn on the pump to show you how quickly the water goes back into the aquarium. Pretty cool. Just in case you're wondering, there's no excessive splashing. Water is contained beautifully, and this will take less than a minute to pump back into the tank. Alright, so I'm almost done with my water change, and the last thing I'm going to have to do is to clean the front panel from all the water spots. And as I mentioned earlier, I paid a company to remove all the scratches from the front panel, inside and outside. So I definitely don't want to put new scratches in. So I want to show you what my routine is when I clean acrylic. So basically, you may know that you can purchase this 3-step scratch removal kit. And this is not, what the company used that I hired. So this is just something that I used for my discus aquarium back there. And on my 1,000 gallon tank, the scratches were just too deep. So I had somebody come up with like a real sanding machine and everything. So the reason why I wanted to show you this is you can buy these individually. So what I do for cleaning the acrylic, I only use this one. So this is basically, when you do the 3-step system, you you go back 3 to 1, not 1 to 3. I don't know why they named it that way. But you remove the heavy scratches, then the fine scratches, and then you polish. So what I'm doing is I bought a 1 gallon of only this shine, and I'm diluting it 1-to-1 with distilled water. This is very important that you use distilled water, so there's no residue, nothing in it, just pure water. Or you can use RO water if you're producing your own RO water. So then I'm using this here to actually spray. And so basically, like I said, 50-50. And then the reason why I use this over something like this is with this, you have to constantly push and spray, and it really makes my hand numb when you have a 10-foot long, 4 feet tall panel. So I decided to use this because this is used for creating a fog in terrariums. So you push down and on this and create a bunch of pressure, and then you just press and hold to spray. Or you can actually push in and forward, and then it's going to be constantly spraying, and all you have to do is point it. So this is a lot easier on my wrist, to clean acrylic, especially since this tank back there is not small either, 6 feet long and 4 feet tall. So yeah, this is a tip I want to show you. It works really well. And I'm going to clean the panel and then see what we have. Okay, so it's time to finish up this video. One thing that I do after every water change is I add some bacteria into the tank. And this is the bacteria that I use for my big Moray eels, so Monster 460 from Fritz Syme. So this is a different type of bacteria. This is not what you usually use for small aquariums. This type of bacteria is really good, processing a lot of waste that big fish like, huge Heniocus or giant Moray, Tessellata Moray would produce. So in order for that to work efficiently, I turn off my skimmer and my carbon reactor for 48 hours so that they don't remove it out of the water immediately. And then I can turn it back on, and then everything is fine. And for cost of this water change, so I use 2 buckets of salt to create a salinity of 1.025. This is because I have a lot of invertebrates in here, a lot of cleaner shrimp, and my 2 spiny lobsters, of course. And they need higher salinity. If I didn't have them, I could drop the salinity to 1.018 maybe, but it is what it is. 2 buckets of salt. A bucket is $34 each plus tax, let's say $40. So $80 every other week for salt alone. So $160 a month is what it costs me to do water changes on this tank. It's not too bad. So like I said, if I didn't have invertebrates, I could lower my salt. But the cleaner shrimp especially are very important when you have more eels, I think, not only for their purpose of removing parasites and dead skin, but also keeping aggression low between eels, because the eels are just enjoying being cleaned so much that they don't even have time to fight with each other. So not that they've ever done it before, but if you have problems with aggression with eels, if you have multiple eels, try to add some cleaner shrimp. We see one in action right now on the giant Moray. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. And other than that, nothing much to add. This is probably one of my shorter videos. Very happy with how easy it is to make water changes on this aquarium, and not having sand anymore, making it really easy for the closed loop system down here to stir up the dirt so that it goes into the overflow box. And then I do this actually every day for 20 minutes. I turn it on. That's enough to stir everything up. Let it go through the overflow box into the sump where it gets caught by the mechanical filtration. And then after that, the skimmer. But one downside is that the way I have built this is that I cannot really add anything to it. So I cannot add more beads into the filter. I cannot add, more biological filtration into these sumps because they're already filled to the top. And or as much as I can put in. So when the fish gets bigger, if I ever have a problem with too much ammonium nitrite or nitrate in here, it would be a little bit difficult to combat that, since I cannot add biological filtration. So I will see what I will do if that ever happens. If not, I just have to increase my water changes to maybe once a week. So that will increase my costs, of course, but it will be to the benefit of the fish. Okay, so this is pretty much it for this video. Give you a close-up of the giant Moray and the Tessellata Moray. Very happy eels. Viper Moray, unfortunately, is extremely difficult to capture on camera because he only comes out at night and only for a very short time checking if there's any food, and then he goes back into hiding. So very difficult to film anything. But if you want to see more of the Viper Moray, I have 3 videos of him. One when I got him, one when I tried to get him to accept food, and then another one when I had to take everything out for the rebuild of the filtration system. That was a good opportunity to get a really good close-up of him and how he has changed. So check that out if you're interested. And other than that, this is it for my water change routine for my 1,000-gallon aquarium. As you can see, it's not that bad if you plan ahead with your filtration. So if you get a new tank and you're building your filtration, try to build it, with water changes in mind. So that's the only thing that I didn't do, and that's the only reason why I had to take everything out And there was so much work, 1 month of work to redo the filtration system, then put everything back in. Fish were stressed out, so I wish I would have done it differently. You know, I wish I would have done it correctly right from the start. So this may be something you can look into if you're building a big aquarium or setting up a big aquarium and you haven't gone to the filtration yet. Look at closed loop filtration. Look at installing a drain at the bottom for easy water changes. No need to use pumps, a lot of electricity to pump stuff out. Just use gravity if possible. And then use strong pumps to pump the water back into the tank. Use, you know, these IBC totes that I have, these big containers where I prep my water, and then use a strong pump to pump the water back in. That will make it very easy. And yeah, if the tank is fully balanced, then you have very little algae, so you don't really have to worry about cleaning the front panel. So yeah, if you set it up correctly, it could make your job a lot easier, and you have more time to enjoy your fish. You don't have to spend, you know, or sacrifice half of your Sunday to do just the water change, like I had to do before. It's now an hour tops. So actually, the most work, quote unquote, is to just roll out these blue discharge hoses and then rolling them back up, and that's pretty much it. So everything else is very, very easy and almost automatic. So yeah, again, thank you for watching this video. I hope you get some ideas for your aquarium, and I hope I see you in the next one soon.